This is a live Channels television event.
The chairman of the board of NIMASA, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, stakeholders in our industry. I feel very honored and delighted to welcome you all here today, and thank you especially for honoring the public presentation Maritime Industry Forecast by the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA. This event coincides with the release today of the country's GDP growth figures in 2017 by the National Bureau of Statistics, confirming Nigeria's exit from recession, a positive indicator that Nigeria's economy is rebound for growth in 2018 and beyond. This is our first attempt at presenting a Nigerian maritime industry forecast and a fulfillment of our promise at the end of 2017 to publish not later than Q1 2018 the outlook and forecast for the Nigerian maritime sector covering years 2018 and 2019. When unveiled, the outlook publication will include a review of developments in the Nigerian maritime industry in 2017, expected international and local developments in policy and regulatory environment for the maritime sector in 2018 and 2019, emerging opportunities and challenges, implications for the maritime industry. Whilst the oil sector remains one of the pillars of the Nigerian economy and is indeed a catalyst for measuring our economic growth, the success of this sector is dependent on the maritime sector, which continues to play a strategic role in the economy of our country. A number of factors have contributed to the gradual growth that we have recorded as the receding crime in the Niger Delta region. The deep blue scale-up of our maritime security architecture is addressing the immediate challenges in this area and is aimed at suppressing the emerging threats in our waters. Ladies and gentlemen, government's commitment through initiatives such as the Presidential Order on Ease of Doing Business continues to yield positive results in our ports. The ongoing infrastructural reforms in the transport sector are all indicators that we are working in the right direction. As a regulator and promoter of shipping development, we are driven by values and commitments, as these are the only ways that our investors can be attracted to harness the great potentials in our maritime sector. We'll continue to work out incentives and maritime sector-specific interventions to attract investment. The forecast today is part of several initiatives to support the growth of the industry and particularly support local and international investors have a bigger picture of opportunities in our industry. On that note, I welcome you all, and I indeed truly appreciate all our stakeholders. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Can we appreciate him once more? The indices are looking very well for Nigeria. We go straight to the business of the day, which is a presentation on macroeconomic perspective of the Nigerian economy and its maritime sector. And to do justice to this is the head of marketplace at Kainos Edge Consulting. He's also a Harvard Business School's faculty to deliver the seminar Marketing Marketplace in Rwanda. He's a member of the adjunct faculty of the Lagos Business School. Let's welcome Dr. Doyin Salami.
the Director General NIMASA, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Well, permit me to start by making a slight correction to the introduction. It'd be nice to be a member of the faculty at Harvard, but I assure you, I was merely an associate on a program. This morning, we stand to take a look at what we expect to see for the maritime industry in 2018 and 2019. As the Director General of NIMASA has rightly pointed out, these forecasts are meant as a tool for planning. They are meant to help industry operators, policymakers, stakeholders across to prepare for what might happen. It's pretty clear that in order to forecast what happens to any sector, right. It's pretty clear that in order to forecast what happens in any sector, we need to be very clear as well as to the context and the environment. And of course, the maritime sector is but one of about 46 sectors in the Nigerian economy. Therefore, in the course of what I will speak to shortly, I will take a look at a couple of things. Try to look at the general macro environment, and then look at the Nigerian maritime space. Let's be clear, the maritime sector will be affected by what happens at the macro level. But the maritime sector in Nigeria is not on its own. Impulses from the global maritime sector will affect the events in Nigeria. But we think that the larger impulses will be domestic and what happens to the oil price. And so, when we start by looking at the economy in Nigeria, there are a couple of things that are very clear. The first is that we are coming out of a recession, but the fragility of the Nigerian economy cannot be understated. According to the figures this morning, 2017, the economy grew by less than 1%, 0.83 to be precise. Now, it compares very favorably with what had happened in 2016 when the economy had shrunk. But it leaves for Nigeria a significant challenge. If our population is growing at anything between 2.5% and 2.8%, then 0.8% growth in output, representing an improvement as it does, nonetheless shows the gaps that we must fill. For us, whilst the economy continues to improve, there are a couple of things that we must also put on the table. The challenge of inflation remains. Beyond that, the challenge of unemployment also remains. And beyond that, it's important not to forget that the environment as we see it does challenge our financial system. It's also very important to bear in mind that as we look at 2018 and look at 2019, we cannot be unmindful of what the challenges or the impact of the electoral cycle that has already begun is. And so, for us, it's very clear. These graphs simply show some of the key highlights as far as the economy is concerned. They certainly do represent some of the improvements, but they also bear within them representation of the challenges that we must not shirk. That said, The maritime industry itself, and forgive me, we've tried our best to present this. When you see the report, you get a clearer picture of this. But what is clear to us about the maritime sector is that it's quite a large, potentially a large sector. As it is today, many of the dimensions of it, especially in the upstream side and also the downstream side, we really don't play in. Some say it's about financing, others say it's about policy. But what is clear, irrespective of what it is about, we certainly are yet to be players therein. And that, of course, in a sense, begins to present the nature of the opportunities, or some of the opportunities that are bound in Nigeria's maritime. I suppose it is probably not unexpected if I should say to the policymakers around maritime that the gaps that we see are gaps that they must work hard towards if the potential of the maritime industry is going to be realized. Now,